At a time when the state is crying out for more carers, one couple has been knocked back, saying they've been deemed too old. Craig and Janet Coulson are in their 50s and are full-time carers for 2 children with disabilities. They want to care for another child, but as Kirsten Vaness reports, they're unlikely to be allowed to do so.
Disability is quite scary for a lot of people, and I can see why. I know why, but it doesn't need to be. This is just a normal person that's just not developing as well or as fast as academically, whatever.
Craig and Janet Coulson are really the only parents 7-year-old Claudia and 15-year-old Taylor have known. Taylor is blind, has cerebral palsy, scoliosis and has to be fed through a tube. The Coulsons don't know how much she understands because she can't respond to tests. But she does respond to the pop greats.
This one day I just put Elvis on and off she went. She started kicking and responding.
She was singing like mad. She loved it.
That was really the breakthrough moment. You know, all of a sudden we had a way in, and it was music.
Claudia has Down syndrome and also suffers from arthritis.
She is a delight, but she does get into a lot of stuff. She started school now and she's just loving it, really blossoming. She's communicating much better. She doesn't speak a lot, but she's got a few words. She communicates really well.
The Coulsons have already raised 6 children of their own and decided to become permanent carers in 1997 after Craig lost his job. They have since adopted Taylor and Claudia.
I was a logistics manager in the health industry, and they've privatised all the supply departments now in the hospital system, so those jobs disappeared. What can we do? And we decided that looking after children was what we were good at doing and what we could do.
With most of their adult children out of the home, they decided the nest had room for one more. So they wrote a letter to the Department of Human Services saying they'd be happy to look after another child with disabilities. But they say they were shocked by the response.
The social worker came around and told us, they didn't say we were too old. They indicated that we could put an application in, but we wouldn't be considered to have a child. Now, why would you put an application in if you weren't going to go any further? And the indication was that we were too old.
So you say they didn't say it?
No.
Then what did they say to indicate it?
Oh, well, you know, how are you going to handle it in a few years? You know, when you're 65 and 68 and you're going to be chasing around after a 7 or 8 year old.
Craig is 57 and Janet is 56, and they still consider themselves quite young.
We could put children with complex needs with parents in their 20s, 30s or 40s, and they could be hit by a bus tomorrow. What we need to be assessing is their suitability and capability to do the foster caring job, not their age.
The Department of Human Services says there is no cut-off age for people wanting to be carers, but age is considered.
Age is not considered exclusively when looking at permanent care arrangements. It's just one of a range of factors that the department and our community sector partners look at when they are needing to determine where children are placed.
The department has acknowledged the good work the Coulsons do and says the family is welcome to apply for another child.
It hurts me that there are children that do not have families. Now, yes, we are older. I don't say that that's ideal, but there are still children there that don't have families.
Fortunately, Taylor and Claudia have siblings who have thought about what the future may hold.
There's 6 of us, so I'd definitely say that we'd be looking after them. I know that they would probably be happiest being looked after by family, so can't imagine sending them off anywhere else.
There are about 1,300 children in Victoria who are being permanently cared for by families, and there's always a need for more people willing to take on such a difficult role. The state opposition says the system needs to be more accommodating.
What we've had with the Coulsons is feedback from the government that says they would rather a complex needs child stays in a short-term unstable environment than has a loving home to go to because the Coulsons are too old. That is an unacceptable situation and just crazy. It's bureaucracy gone mad.
There are a range of matters that we consider when people are putting themselves forward to care for children, and I do think we are very accommodating and flexible. We provide additional support if required for families.
They've still got the passion to look after another child, so I just think that that's what's important rather than age.
Good crop today.
For a couple that grows their own vegetables, keeps chickens and uses solar power, going against the grain is not unusual.
People can't understand necessarily what we're doing because it's not within their view of the world.